How's it going, everybody? This is Rob Novakast back with another video, and this is kind of a random one to come across because to an extent I was looking for stuff to review for the channel, and I went ahead and kind of scrolled through Netflix, and one particular animated show that I've heard of once or twice was KIPO. And to an extent, it looked, or at least when it comes to the trailer, it looked really, really creative. And as well as, not gonna lie, I really love the art style. And upon checking it out, by the way, all 3 seasons, and I'm gonna try my best not to spoil anything, but honestly, I really like this show. This was actually a lot of fun. And I guess to talk about the base premise is, or at least the story of how things start, you have a teenage girl by the name of KIPO, who basically is brought up to the surface from her underground shelter, or burrow as they call it, because at this point in the story, or at least how it's set, is it's in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity now lives in underground burrows or shelters, whereas on the surface something happened. It's never really explained what happened, but animals mutated to the point where they can understand and speak human speech, as well as, to an extent, certain animals growing into massive size, causing, mass destruction. So that's basically how the story is. And as well as KIPO trying to at first get home, but also trying to protect and understand the world that she has now come to be a part of. And it's done in a very, very creative way. Now, I think one thing in particular is that I really enjoy is not just, KIPO herself, like if we were talking about characters, but also the, I guess you could say, tribes or clans of the different mutated animals, and each one having its own particular style and behaviors. Now, I said I wouldn't go into spoilers, but I just want to talk about this, just so you guys have an idea of what I'm talking about. You have, to an extent, timber cats, who basically are just cats wearing plaid, and they're basically like cat lumberjacks, and they're a lot of fun. You have the snakes that apparently are rockers. You have skunks that are bikers, to wolves that are at the very least act intellectually superior to the other animals. You have hummingbirds that are bombers, which I will say is probably the funniest thing out of everything. And going further, you have a couple of rats that basically create a safe zone for humanity. Each and every one of these particular clans have, again, their own personalities, and it's really cool. You also have one of the main villains, Scarlemagne, who honestly is interesting, and as well as has an interesting connection to the main character, KIPO. I don't want to spoil too much, because the connection between those two is interesting and really pays off towards the end of the initial show. There's a lot of interesting encounters with, within the story. A lot of interesting mutants. Some that weren't part of the clans, like, I'm gonna screw up the name. There's a character named Molebear, is really interesting and kind of makes me wonder what caused his mutation. You have Wolf, for the main cast. You have KIPO, Wolf, as well as Mondu, Dave, and Benson, being the main cast of everything. Each and every one of them having their personalities, but at the same time, kind of, I guess, complementing each other when it comes to their behaviors, how their character traits, and so on. And KIPO kind of being the more influential one out of all of them. So, all in all, I will admit, it's each and every character is amazing in their own way. Each of them, again, the characters are all very fleshed out to an extent, and each of them having their own personality, their quirks and whatnot. I didn't feel bored with any of these characters. Story itself, going back to story 2, story itself is, especially with each episode, is very intriguing. Especially with how it goes one way, like towards season 2, and then continuing the story somewhat with a new antagonist. Again, won't spoil too much, but at the same time, with every encounter, KIPO tries their best to basically deal with the situation, not through violence, but with, compassion, which I will kind of respect with that. Music used in this particular show is mixed. I noticed a lot of, by the way, comment if I screw this up. I'm not, and it's not, I try to be diverse with music, so I do apologize if I screw this up. It sounded like hip-hop to me, which I'm not gonna lie. I mean, some of the music used was actually really good. And it really kind of added to a lot of the stuff that was going on, as well as the feel of the show. Artwork, I've already mentioned, like animation, just, I loved it. The style of it is pretty good. The color used in it is pretty good. Some of the designs of the characters, especially for the mutants, is really good. I think some of the designs for some of the quote-unquote super mutants is pretty interesting, as well as the quote-unquote super jaguar, which is a mutant that pops up towards the middle of the show, which I will admit is pretty cool. Going further than that, characters like a character that shows up by the name of Scarlemagne pops up, and his design is really cool. I believe he's supposed to be like an ape or orangutan or something. I don't know. I know I'm gonna screw that up. You know what? Actually, I just realized it was a mandrill, so I do apologize for that. But to an extent, I'm gonna leave that in there, by the way, because I'm an idiot sometimes when it comes to the animal kingdom. But to an extent, yeah, he was a mandrill who dressed up as a noble. And honestly, his design is just great. It is extremely great. So, I'm not gonna lie. Giving final thoughts, this was an alright show. It was, again, color, animation, really good. The designs for all the characters are really great. My favorite has to be, like, at least for the clans, are these exercise raccoons that pop up later in the show. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but when they pop up, it's great. It's really great with them. And above all, characters, excellent, fleshed out. Story, done really well. Music fits with the story. So, final rating, I'm gonna be over. I think it's safe to say that it might seem like I'm overselling it, but screw it. I like the show. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun show. I recommend it. For those who aren't fed up with Netflix, go check it out if you haven't already. But all in all, KIPO and the Age of the Wonder Beasts. 10 out of 10 for me. And with that, guys, that was my review of KIPO and the Age of Wonder Beasts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have anything you'd like to add, leave in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, links are in the description down below. As well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Novakast signing off. Have a good one. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next video.